What up, Fight Fam? We are back. Marco Rubio from the Fightcast. This is another edition of the 10-minute breakdown. This time we are talking UFC 211 in Dallas, Texas, home of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Also where we shot JFK. That's our bad. Let's roll the intro. All right, we got UFC 211, Dallas, Texas. Stipe Miocic versus Junior Dos Santos. Great super stat card. We got Eddie Alvarez headlining the Fox on FS1, and we did have one fight scrapped from this great super stat card, and that was Henry Cejudo versus Sergio Pettis. That was going to be an interesting fight between up-and-coming Sergio Pettis and, of course, number 2 ranked Henry Cejudo. But we're going to start off with Eddie Alvarez, just coming off a knockout loss. Both these guys are coming out knockout losses. I think Dustin Poirier got viciously knocked out by Michael Johnson, and then Eddie Alvarez got knocked out, of course, by Conor McGregor, who they've both fought before, and again, both been knocked out before. I think they're mistaken that fight. They try to stand up with McGregor, and arguably one of the best strikers in the division, very heavy-handed. So this is an interesting matchup. This is a big step up for Dustin Poirier, and a good way to kind of leave it all out there, honestly, because if he's able to beat Eddie Alvarez, that lines him up for a title shot, arguably. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts in the lightweight division right now. With Conor just having a baby, congrats, by the way. Khabib not making weight. I don't know. He might be forced to go up to 170 for his next fight. Excuse me. I don't know. And of course, Nate Diaz not wanting to fight, and Tony Ferguson also waiting for the right fight. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be fighting anyone besides, unless it's Conor McGregor. So very interesting for the lightweight division. So this is a good one for him to sneak in and kind of make his name, make his presence felt, if he can get past the former champion Eddie Alvarez. Dustin Poirier, very well rounded. I just don't think that he's gonna be able to stand up to Eddie Alvarez takedowns. Eddie Alvarez is very good wrestling, decent boxer, has some power, but I think he's going to utilize his wrestling to kind of take Poirier, kind of control him for most of the fight. I see him stopping Poirier or probably or winning unanimous decision. So I am picking Eddie Alvarez to win this fight. Of course, the next fight was Sergio Pettis versus Henry Cejudo, but that was scrapped. Very unfortunate, but we got an even better matchup, and that's Frankie Edgar versus Yair Rodriguez. Ooh-wee, this fucking fight makes my balls tingle. Wow, did I really just say that? My bad, guys. This is fucking great fight, dude. Up and coming Yair Rodriguez, outstanding Mexican fighter, very sharp, very entertaining. Just came off of a win from beating the very old, very over the hill BJ Penn, destroying him pieces. Like that was a slaughter, man. I was like watching that fucking goat in Jurassic Park get fed to the T-Rex. It was brutal, man. And of course Frankie Edgar, former lightweight champion, former featherweight champion. I don't think he was ever featherweight, but he was a lightweight champion. Veteran in the game, great boxing, tons of heart, great wrestling. Overall, just spectacular fighter. So this is a very interesting matchup for Yair. Can he get past his wrestling? Can he get past Frankie Edgar's octagon experience? That is a factor in this fight. He's very young, and I think his most weakest part of his game is his striking. And of course, Frankie Edgar has excellent boxing, excellent head movement, perfect timing, and can really hurt you on with the standing up. So that may be a factor. But Yair Rodriguez is very tall, very good with his leg kicks. He comes from a Taekwondo background, so he can get in and out with his kicks and kind of keep Frankie Edgar at bay. This is a big toss-up for me, man. My heart wants to say Yair Rodriguez, but I think, again, interesting. I'm picking him as a go, guys. Like I'm not like I do try to do my research, and I did do research for this, but I when it comes to picking them, like it's very toss up because I try to keep it non-biased and strictly to the facts. And on paper, Frankie Edgar beats Yair Rodriguez, but I'm gonna go with Yair Rodriguez. I think this is his time. I think he's improving every single time he comes into the ring. He's very flashy, very dynamic, and of course, big respects to Frankie Edgar. But I think his time, his prime is past. Not that he's not a good fighter. He can definitely stay in this game for more years. But I think Yair Rodriguez is really gonna make a very impressionable performance tonight. So I am picking, or tomorrow night. So I am picking Yair Rodriguez to win this fight. On to the next fight, which is Damian Maia versus George Masvidal. God damn it, George Masvidal looking good. Great performance against Ellenberger. That was a kind of weird ending, but there was only a matter of time before he knocked out Ellenberger. Great performance against Cowboy Cerrone. I knew something in the first round just showed me that Cerrone was not there that night, and Masvidal took advantage. He has great striking, and he's very cerebral. He's a very scrapping fighter, and can break down a fight within the fight. My prime example, he can see things. He can see your flaws within a fight while it's happening, and not just break it down on film. He saw how Cerrone was leading with his left kick too much, and just countered it off there and led him with a nice left hook and hurt. Really, pretty much stopped Cerrone in that first round. So he's looking good. His striking is looking excellent. He's very well rounded. Very good scrambler. Hard to keep Masvidal down, which is of course what Damian Maia is going to want to do. Take him to the ground and choke him out, which is his strongest game. Obviously, the jiu-jitsu. So a very interesting fight. Damian Maia has been tearing it up the division. Choked out Matt Brown. Choked out. Who else he choked out? Numerous fights. Shit, I can't even remember. Of course, he used to be at 185, and now he's 170. Arguably the next guy in line. Whoever wins this fight is arguably the next guy to fight the champion Woodley, or at least the number one contender for that fight. Again, great fight on paper. Everything tells me I should be picking Damian Maia, but I'm gonna pick George Masvidal. I think he's gonna bring his fucking A game. I think this is his prime Masvidal. I think he's re-upped his training to where he's not waiting so long, because you saw what happens when Masvidal waits too long. He ends up usually losing the decision, and he's really been jumping off at this point, and starting off quick and finishing when he sees the opening. So I'm gonna go for George Masvidal for the upset win. I don't know if he's the favorite, if Maia's the favorite to win this fight, but I am picking George Masvidal by upset, probably by a TKO stoppage in the first round. Crazy. All right, we got Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Jessica Andrade for the co-main event for the women's strawweight title. Fucking crazy fight. Joanna Jędrzejczyk always brings that shit on a tear in the division. She is 13-0. Andrade is 16-5. Super strong, great striker. Had a great performance against Angela Hill, where she pretty much dominated that fight. Was throwing it. And shout out to Angela Hill for taking that kind of punishment, just keeping her head in the game. And she was very tactical in that fight. She had good striking, good power. But Jessica was just dropping bombs and was a little bit too much aggressive with the takedown. Super strong. Excuse me. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, what can you say though? Had a great performance against Claudia Gadelha. She was hurt in that first round, was able to stay composed and really just take control of her for the rest of the fight. I'm interested to see what Jessica's gonna do differently in this fight. Jessica's style is very similar to Claudia's style. Very aggressive, up forward, strong. Maybe not as good jiu-jitsu, but very heavy-handed, and she's gonna want to keep this fight standing, or where I think she's more powerful overall. Technique-wise, going to go to Jędrzejczyk. Of course, her Muay Thai striking is off the chain. And, of course, we've seen Jędrzejczyk in tough situations. We've seen her hurt and also come back from that. So I'm interested to see what their strategy is this time. Just trying to bum rush her it could be a good idea if you have that knockout power to finish the fight. Claudia was not able to. She gassed herself out and was able to, and Jędrzejczyk was able to just pick her apart for the rest of the fight. So what are they gonna do different? What did they see different that they think they could beat Jessica? I mean, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It's tough, man. I really don't see Jessica beating Jędrzejczyk. I think she was gonna be able to pretty much outstrike her, keep her distance, and because Jędrzejczyk has power, and when she cracks you, you're not just gonna run through it like she did with Angela. She's gonna feel those shots, and she's gonna leave herself open enough to get hurt in the fight. So I am picking Joanna Jędrzejczyk to retain her title. She is killing the game right now. I don't see what else is. I mean, obviously there's plenty of people in her division. Rose Namajunas had a great performance against Waterson. I think she choked her out. So big things to come from Joanna. I think she's gonna win this fight pretty convincingly, probably unanimous decision. If she can stay healthy, not get hurt, and not by Jessica, she's gonna be able to outstrike her all day. I don't know too much about Jessica, so I don't mean to be biased, I guess, but I just don't see on paper everything is going for Joanna Jędrzejczyk. So I am picking her to retain her title that night. Moving on to the main event, we got Stipe Miocic versus Junior Dos Santos. These guys are meeting for the second time. The first time they met was a couple years back, and Dos Santos was able to get a decision win over Stipe, which is one of his only 2 losses on his record. Of course, he has been knocked out by Stefan Struve way back when he first entered the UFC. Stipe Miocic, what a great guy! That guy, he kind of looks like Jason Witten, doesn't he? I think he looks like Jason Witten. How ironic, they're in Cowboys. They're not in Cowboy Stadium, but they're in Dallas right now. So maybe Jason wouldn't be at the fight. I don't know. Maybe they are the same. They're all the same person. We don't know. I don't know these things. Very, very nice guy. He's from Ohio, representing Cleveland, representing the land. I know the Cleveland. I forgot their name. The Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm not a big basketball fan. Are out in the finals right now, or they're heading to the finals. I'm not quite sure. Again, I'm not a big basketball fan. So he has Cleveland on his side. Great performance against Overeem. Was hurt, got dropped, recovered, was able to stop a very crazy round. Was able to stop Overeem in that fight. And of course, he fought the champion at that time, Fabricio Werdum, who everyone thought arguably was the best best heavyweight fighter of all times. Pretty much destroying Cain Velasquez in Mexico City, and no one really gave Stipe a shot. And Stipe came in Werdum came overcommitted and got caught and never got back up after Miocic landed that straight right, and becoming the UFC heavyweight champion. Junior Dos Santos, great fighter. He's been working on his boxing. I think he's been working with Michael Moore from what I've seen. Had a really good performance against Ben Rothwell. My thing with him is that while these guys have met before and fought before, who has progressed the most? While I think they both progressed, obviously Stipe definitely progressed. He went on to become the UFC heavyweight champion. But for Dos Santos, it was a little rougher path. I can't say words that good. He went on to win the title from Cain Velasquez, knocked him out. Then had 2 more rematches after that, and was just beaten up badly. Then had a bad performance against the Overeem, where he got knocked out again. Where he got knocked out, not again. He got knocked out. So his chin has been tested, and getting cracked in the heavyweight division is not good. You know what I mean? Like it leaves a big impact on you. And while he looked great against Rothwell, I think this is gonna be a stand-up fight. And I think the better power striking and chin is gonna go to Miocic. Of course, and Miocic also has really good wrestling, which is a weak point for for Dos Anjos. He likes to keep it standing, but if he gets cracked by one of Miocic's right hands in the heavyweight division, it could be lights out. So I'm gonna pick Stipe Miocic to win this fight. I think he stops Dos Santos in the second round. If Dos Santos can be patient, take his time and box Miocic, I definitely think I can definitely see him winning this fight. But I am picking Miocic. I think he's going to come out aggressive and land some big shots early and really hurt Dos Santos and finish him off in the second round. So there you have it, guys. Those are my picks for UFC 211 in Dallas, Texas. Sorry for being so late. I've been super busy this week, but I had to get it out. I had to get it out for you guys. So I really appreciate you coming by and watching and watching the video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and we see you next time. Stay woke, people.